So another presidential TFR this weekend. I got 5 hours before it starts, and I really wanted to talk about the new features added to the DJI Mini 3 Pro. How's it going, everybody, and welcome back to the channel. If you're new to the channel, my name is Big Ball Vlogs. If you're not so new to the channel, thanks for sticking around supporting the channel. For the people who are new to the channel, I started the channel a while ago doing pretty much reviews, drone reviews, camera reviews, cheap stuff that I thought you might be interested in because I couldn't afford the high-tech toys. Today, I'm kind of vlogging about what I want. I might be vlogging about this microphone Nexus, a microphone that I got off of Amazon for like 20 bucks. Beautiful little lavalier microphone, and maybe I want you to know about it, so I'm going to do a video about it soon. But today, we're going to be talking about the latest firmware update on the DJI Mini 3 Pro. I really wanted to talk about this because in previous videos, I don't know how many videos I've done where I've said that I really wish that DJI would go back to adding some of the features that they had in some of the earlier drones. What they do is they put the features in, they take the features out, and you get used to them, and then you don't have them anymore. So let's just talk about the 3 features that were given in this firmware update. Let's start off with the most controversial one, and that is remote ID. So I believe the remote ID feature, or the features that pertain to remote ID in previous drones, were able to be toggled off and on. It was there, but you could turn it off or on at your choice. In this firmware update, you're not going to be able to turn it off. It's going to be on this drone, it's going to be on all the time, and you're not going to be able to download or downgrade to the previous version firmware to get rid of it. So it's here, guys. Get used to it, follow the rules, and you won't get in trouble, right? So second feature, which I am a camera guy, but to be honest with you, I like to keep it simple. I like to use the auto settings. I do not like doing post-production work. I want to get this thing up. I want to get the color and the image that I want out of it. But if you are into manual settings, you're able to get a better quality image, or the image that appeals to you, right? So the second feature that was given to this drone is the ability to control shutter priority or aperture priority. At least that's what it says in this firmware update. I've seen some videos where guys said that they cannot find this setting in the drone, so I think I may be able to explain that. If you're not familiar with shutter or ISO priority, I'll try to make it simple by explaining that when you put on shutter priority, you are going to manually control the shutter, and the camera is going to control the ISO and aperture for you. If you put it in ISO priority, you are going to manually control the ISO, or the sensitivity, and then the camera is going to try to control the shutter and the aperture for you. Now, since the Mini 3 Pro has a fixed 1.7, of course, the camera is not going to be able to adjust the aperture. But if you go into the settings, what you'll find is, and I didn't really go through the manual settings before, you're going to find that you can turn the ISO to auto or manual, and the shutter to auto or manual. So I'm only going to assume in this implementation of these new features that if you turn the ISO to manual and you adjust it manually and leave the shutter on auto, it is going to automatically adjust the shutter to give you the best image quality. And vice versa. If you turn on shutter to manual and then turn ISO to auto, it's going to adjust the shutter manually, and it's going to adjust the ISO automatically, which is going to give you the best image quality or sensitivity when you're flying in light or dark situations. But the third feature that I'm really interested about, and I'm going to try to get this thing up in the air and see if I can actually see if it does anything better for the image quality, is the ability now to adjust the sharpness in camera. I spoke about this in, I don't know how many of my previous videos were in the original Mavic Pro, and I think maybe a couple of the drones after. You were able to adjust the sharpness, contrast, and saturation in camera so that you didn't have to download the image later and try to adjust the quality in some editing software. Now, the DJI Fly app has an amazing editing package included. It is amazing. It's like probably one of the most powerful editing packages I've seen. But the only downside is that after you've adjusted and done everything that you like to kind of get it to the point that you like it, you now have to export it in 1080. So if I shot this in 4K, it's only going to allow me to export it in 1080. Now, I like to adjust my saturation. I like super saturated images, but I don't have that feature. And I also like super sharp images because I like it to be sharp. I like to see those blades of grass. I like to see those leaves in the trees. Some people like that softer, like beauty image, like no features type of filter on their drones, and the image quality coming out of the drone is perfectly fine to them. If that is the case, don't even bother with it. Just get yourself a nice ND filter and you should be good to go to get you some better image quality. But for me, I like to pump up that saturation. I like to pump up that sharpness. In this new firmware update, I am able to pump up at least the sharpness, and I will go with that because I find that the color science on the DJI Mini 3 Pro is pretty good. It's pretty accurate. I don't think that it's overly saturated. I don't think it's overly dull. I don't fly in log. I fly in you know, the standard color profile, and it looks good coming out of the camera to me. But I do want to pump up that sharpness so that I can download this footage in the sharpness that I like at 4K. So when I post it to social media, to YouTube, where they're going to crush that video down, I'm not going to lose a lot of that image quality. So what I want to do today, and like I said, in the 5 hours that I got, and, you know, being that this is kind of like an on-the-go video, is get this thing up in the air, and I want to cycle through that feature. I want to go from, you know, standard to, I think you can go +2 on the sharpness according to the settings that I've scrolled through, and see if it gives me a better image quality. What I want to do is I want to get this up in the air. We'll do pretty simple. I'm going to get this up in the air and just have it fly around in circles. I'm going to hit the button to hit record, and then I'm going to slide the slider from the normal +1, +2, and see if I can actually see the difference, and hopefully it works. Okay, so in the interest of saving time, I got the drone up in the air. And like I said, not going to do anything particularly, you know, crazy with this today. I'm just going to be using the point of interest circle. So we're just going to do a circle around a point of interest. And what I want to do is I'm going to go into the settings, and then I'm going to change the settings on the sharpness to see if it actually pumps up that setting. Right now, the only thing that I'm using to my advantage is the fact that I got on an ND32. It's pretty bright out right now. So that might help the image quality a little bit better than if you are not using an ND filter. But other than that, it's going to be straight out of the camera sharpness from camera instead of me editing it in post. So real quick before I even do this, because I want to kind of get some other stuff here, so what I want to do is I want to go in here and I want to do screen recording real quick. Okay, I got my screen recording right now. It's all good. I got my image selected. We are going to get this out of the way. We're going to do point of interest, and we're going to hit go. And it is now doing a slow rotation. I want to speed up just a little bit. And we're using that tree as our point of focus. So right now we are in probably the stock setting, but let me just go in and double check real quick. What you got to do is you got to go into your settings menu. And what you're going to do is you're going to go down to camera. You're going to scroll down a little bit until you see the thing that says style. So if I go into style, I'm going to scroll up a little bit more. And as you can see, there's an adjustment for sharpness and noise reduction. So what I want to do is, because I've already kind of like, you know, started this in a +1 sharpness, I'm going to take it back to 0. And I'm going to hit the record button and see what we get for about 10 seconds. So I'm going to close this out so I can actually see a point of starting. And we're recording. So I want to let it do, you know, probably a full rotation. I don't know if I want to let it do a full rotation, maybe a full rotation. I'm moving really pretty slow, so let me speed that up a little bit. And then I got to adjust it again to kind of get it all to match. So we're going to let it do like a quarter rotation at a 0 sharpness. Maybe a half rotation at 0 sharpness. And then maybe I could stitch them together side by side to kind of see what they look like on a side by side comparison. And when it gets to the halfway mark where we're coming around right now, I'm at 30 seconds. I'm going to just stop it because that's like, you know, a long drawn out video. I'm going to stop the recording. I'm going to go back into my settings while it's still moving. I'm going to bump that sharpness up to a +1 and go back to the main screen. I'm going to hit record again. I think we're at, what, 38 seconds. So now we're at a +1, and right now, to be honest with you, I can't tell the difference in the screen. It's pretty bright coming from my right side. Maybe if I cover it a little bit, I could probably see a little bit better, but the image transmission quality is probably not going to be as equal to the actual footage that I'm going to get out of the drone. I think I'm shooting at 4K. Yep, I'm shooting at 4K 30. So we should be getting some pretty decent video out of this. All right. Come on, 29 seconds. I know this is a long, drawn-out video for this experiment. 36 seconds, 37 seconds. I'm going to stop it at 40 seconds. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to do the same thing. I'm going to go back in. I'm going to pump that all the way up to +2. I'm going to come back. Oh, I'm good. Hit record. I'm going to let it record again for another 30 seconds, another 40 seconds. Got a blue jay screaming in the background. So again, testing this new microphone out. For some reason, I've been fascinated with these little wireless lavalier mics that I keep finding on Amazon for like 20 bucks to see if they are, you know, comparable to a decent microphone like a Rode Micro or a DJI lavalier system. I think they are, but hey, you're listening to the video quality, sound quality coming out of it right now. What do you think? I'll probably do a video on this one because, like I said, this is a pretty cool setup. I liked it. I think I got it for like 20 bucks. So we're now at 32 seconds, and I'm going to stop it at 38 or 40. I can't remember where I stopped before. All right, so now I've got 3 different image qualities. I got the very first one, which is the standard image quality coming out of the drone. The next one is Blue Jay just screaming. I think they're either screaming at me or they're screaming at the drone circling overhead. The next one is going to be the +1 sharpness. So it's going to give me a little bit more sharpness, or probably, I don't know, 50% more sharpness than it was at 0. And I'm pausing a little bit so I can kind of let you see the image quality while I'm talking, because I'm going to have to do a lot of editing in post. Oop, I also have the screen record still going on the controller to stop that. And then lastly, we have a +2, which is the highest that you can go for sharpness. And this is, you know, the max you're going to get out of the drone directly from, this is the max you're going to get directly from the drone. Now, like I said, I've used the editing software, and the editing software can push that sharpness up so high that it just makes the image quality terrible. It wants to cut your eyes. It's so sharp. But again, I do this because when I'm posting it to social media or posting it to YouTube, it gives me, you know, a better image than, you know, when that video's been crushed down a little bit. Now, I know a lot of you guys, for some reason, have been posting up some amazing videos. I'm like, how did you get that quality video to post to like Instagram or IG? I don't know how you do it yet, but I'm only assuming it's because you use a extremely high resolution and extremely high editing, and, you know, when it crushes it down, it just looks amazing. So with that said, let's do a quick side-by-side comparison. We're going to put them all side by side. You want to see how they look. And that's pretty much it. I mean, that's what you're going to get if you pump up the sharpness. Like I said, I wanted to keep this video a little bit short. I think I'm at, like, I don't know, with the drone video and the post video, probably like 12-15 minutes. So I want to give you a little option if you're out and you're droning and you don't want to mess around with post editing and you need more sharpness, of how you can do it. If you're not familiar with this new feature, it is in the new DJI firmware update, so you're going to have to download that. Remember, you're going to be stuck with remote ID if you do upgrade to this new firmware, because it is not downgradable. So with that said, thanks for watching. Thanks for supporting the channel. Like I said, I got 5 hours if I do another video, so I'm going to let this one go, and I'll talk to you later. Peace.